I am Jacob Wurtz.
And I am Jacob Gabel.
And this is the Untapped Podcast. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back. Season 2, episode 28.
Not a big deal at all.
Yep. We got an EXCurrent today. Guys, if this is your first time listening to the Untapped podcast, not pasta, podcast, first of all, thank you for choosing us to listen to. We are stoked to have you here with us and have you listening. We actually have 5 different formats of our show. So first, you have EX Fit episodes. You get 2 certified personal trainers here in both of us. In those episodes, we cover everything to do with fitness, the gym, workouts, diet, nutrition, outdoor workouts, things of that nature. Next, we have EX Mind episodes. These ones are probably my favorite personally. This is where we cover a lot of mindset, a lot of the mental side of things. We just talk a lot about our anecdotal experiences in that realm, the things we've gone through, the things we've overcome, and basically the methods we use to work through different situations. And we try to pass those on to you guys. Next, we have EX Gentlemen episodes. These ones are perfect for our young males that listen. And honestly, we get a lot of good feedback from females as well. But in these episodes, we cover everything to do with masculinity, becoming a strong man, what that means for you, and what that means for those around you as well.
Yeah, awesome. Our final 2 formats, guys, are EXCurrent. EXCurrent is what we're going to have today, obviously. It's about new articles going on in the world, what's happening in the world right now. It could also be how history relates to our present day. We like to call it bullshit, and a lot of those episodes are us kind of just talking about that stuff, bringing light to it, whatever we need to do there. Our final format is our EX Guest format, which our next one is coming up very soon.
Yeah,
very exciting. Really excited about that one.
Yes.
Our most recent one of that is Will Be Inspired, Mr. Will Bates, season 2, episode 26. If you want to check in with that, that's awesome. That is anytime we sit down with somebody that brings you value, fellow professional, fitness professional, or an entrepreneur, or somebody that just brings you value in general. Yep. Those are a lot of fun. Normal podcast kind of setup, of course, but those are a really good time. Our final little thing to introduce is our producer, my brother, Mitchell Gabel.
Hello, children.
That's right. We have a third voice on the podcast.
And we have a third DJ on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, children right there.
Well, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Doing well, dude. This weekend's been really solid so far. Really good start of it. Mainly because we had a really fun walk today.
We did.
Little like weird tunnel walk through on the creek bed.
Woods and creek. Yeah, it was cool. We didn't really cover the distance that we normally do, but that was because we were on an all-terrain walk today.
Yep, and not to mention knocking down trees.
Yeah.
Any tree that got in our way was over for.
Yeah, we spent a good 10 minutes, the 3 of us, just slaughtering this dead tree.
That's such a good word for it.
It was standing when we found it, and it was not standing when we left it.
You know, it's funny because it's such a random thing, but it's good to go back and do stuff like that just because it brings back childhood a lot of times.
Right.
I think especially as dudes, we miss those days, the airsoft days, the fort building in the woods and whatnot. So much fun.
Well,
dude.
And I don't know. I don't know if kids really do that kind of stuff anymore because it might be too violent.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, might incite violence.
Well, and it hurts nature to do that stuff too. Whenever you knock over trees. Yeah.
Right. A dead tree. Yeah.
If
anything, we just provided like little animals with a house or something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But no, that was fun. It was definitely fun. We, if anyone was listening to us when we were knocking that tree down,
oh my gosh,
it definitely sounded like we were murdering something.
Seriously,
it was bad.
I really hope nobody heard that because somebody called the cops for sure.
Right,
and we're like, what in the world's happening in my backyard right now?
Exactly,
it wouldn't be good.
Mitch, what day of 75 hard are you on?
36.
36. So you're over a month in. How we feeling? This is your first time going, so you're about halfway through the program.
Yeah,
actually, almost to the day you're halfway through the program. How you feeling?
Tired.
Yeah.
It's I think it's more of a routine at this point. It's finding the time when it's not annoying to do it. You know, it's been long days at work, so you know you get off and you're like, still gotta get to it, but it's that no question mentality. It's like, you're not questioning whether or not you're gonna do the 2. You know you're gonna do the 2.
Right.
It's just like, damn, I still got to do 2.
Right.
But you're not questioning it.
Exactly.
So I think that's a complete mind shift.
Yeah.
Mindset shift I've had.
Right. Not feeling like it's a chore anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like,
it just has to get done.
Like it kind of sucks.
It's part of the day.
Exactly. You know, it's 5 p.m. I got to get 2 workouts in, but that's just what we got to do.
And for reference, guys, Mitchell starts work at 5 a.m. in the morning. So that changes the game a little bit for him when it comes to the workouts and whatnot.
Well, it's just a different schedule than most folks. But yeah, you get up, it's just like anything. You eat breakfast, you do your 2 workouts, you
Yep.
do your progress picture. And I think, I was thinking about this today. I'm probably in the best shape I've ever been in.
Yeah.
I
Well,
would-
and
I
I'm
would-
sure.
I would agree
Well,
with that.
ever
Yeah.
since probably when I played lacrosse, but I was also very skinny when I
Sure.
played
I
lacrosse.
I would say your endurance might have been
yeah,
better
I didn't
then,
have a lot
but
of muscle mass when I
Yeah,
played
right.
lacrosse, but
Yeah.
I'm probably in the best, I guess, overall physical
Yeah.
shape.
first team all state long stick midi, not a big deal at all.
Well,
First team all state.
and I'm sure mentally you're in the best shape of your life as well.
I think the biggest thing I commented on, obviously we're all fairly active, so the 2 workouts isn't huge,
Sure.
other than the time constraints.
Sure.
But I love the reading portion. I mean,
Mhm.
I
Me too.
gobbled up books in elementary
Yeah.
and middle school and all that, and then throughout college, I just didn't read.
Yeah.
It just fell away.
Yeah.
And that's a huge habit to have, just reading books. And
Definitely.
it's a great bedtime routine. Honestly, I've been falling
Mhm.
asleep way faster. I'm in bed by usually 9, read the 10 pages, and then fall asleep within 15 minutes of it.
Yeah.
So that's the reading, I think, is probably my favorite part of it
Yeah.
because it's a huge habit to have.
Absolutely. It for me personally, and not to talk about 75 hard for too long here, because we do have a very interesting topic
Yeah.
to cover today. But I almost go in like 2-week cycles of what my favorite part is. But more often than not, it's the reading
It's
as
the-
well.
yeah, it comes back to the
Because
reading.
and we've talked a lot about that, but being able to learn from people's stories and experiences, you can't find that anywhere else, and yeah, podcasts are great for that as well. You get a David Goggins on a podcast, or a Jocko, or
Mhm.
you listen to Andy Frisell or whatever. That's great, and those are phenomenal. But reading someone else's words and interpreting them in your own way, and like really applying it to your life, then I think there's just so much power in that.
Well, I was literally talking to my dad exactly about that same thing.
Mhm.
Is you learn differently from reading actual physical text. It does.
Mhm.
I don't know the scientifics behind it, obviously, but something is different in your brain from watching a video. Like in YouTube videos can be informative, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yep.
But it's a complete. It's still the same thing. It's words,
Right.
but your brain interprets it differently or remembers it
100%,
somehow.
yeah,
So there's some
100%.
scientific about it, but yeah, it's completely different. And I thought about this too. If you think our generation, I guess probably Gen Z or maybe a little bit of millennials, we have not been raised on physical books.
Yeah.
Right.
We've been raised
Physical
on
content like
yeah,
that.
on digital media,
Yep.
and that's maybe a big difference from our parents' generation or even millennials. Is there was a
Absolutely.
lot more physical media back then.
That's why I
Yeah.
always laugh about when people are like, "Can are audiobooks a thing? Can I just listen to it?" I'm like, "No."
Well, and it's just
I'm
like,
like,
why?
"Why? Like, why would you want that?" Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, especially us two, Gable, like our grade, we were kind of on the back end of that. Like we still had textbooks
Yep.
in high school and in middle school and elementary school. Like we still had books. But probably our junior or maybe our senior year of high school is when they started introducing the Chromebooks in all the classrooms. And
Yep.
now all the kids have Chromebooks that they take home with them. My sister being one of them. Obviously she's almost out now, but I think you're exactly right, Mitch, that our generation and, we're kind of on the older side of the generation. But we were kind of on the tail end
Yeah.
of that and getting a mix.
I was just say the time I saw it really come into play was in college because about 70,
Yeah.
it ended up that's about at 75% of my textbooks were online
Online.
compared to actual
Right.
physical, which I guess price wise can be a lot better.
Oh, sure.
But
yeah.
I mean, at the same time, I didn't learn anything from the online textbooks.
Right.
I don't think I opened a single online textbook when I was in college. I
I-
was like, yeah, I won't do this.
Yeah.
It was
I
bad,
barely
but-
open textbooks anyway.
Yeah.
But all right, anyway, guys, as we mentioned earlier, here we are, season 2, episode 28, EXCurrent. Been a little bit since we've done a current.
Yep.
Lots been going on. And today we're going to talk about the start of World War III. Just to put it bluntly.
Just a light topic, something light to touch
Yeah.
on, of course.
Yeah, and what's funny is it's not at all.
Exactly.
Not light at
Yeah.
all. This is a very scary situation. I was just talking to my dad about this the other night, and we were just talking about the China balloon, and we'll cover that here in a second. But just the state of the country, just the people that are running this country, the people that are running the world for that matter, it's terrifying. And if you overload yourself too much with all this, like it just stresses you the hell out. It's just like what am I gonna do? Like what can we do? I try to talk about it with as many people. I try to share stuff, and we do all that, and that's a great way of spreading messages and words and whatnot. But like, what happens when this is actually real?
And I think that's exactly how they want us to feel. And I say
Oh,
they,
absolutely.
like the elites, because they want us to feel like it's hopeless.
Absolutely.
They want us to feel like we're not making an impact.
Yeah.
When I know we are, because we're getting responses and whatnot. Like,
Right.
Even if somebody's not responding or they're maybe not as like social about it, the people we talk to, we're making an impact on. 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've talked to plenty of people. Sorry, my nose is about to sneeze there, but I've talked to plenty of people who have completely changed since the last 2 to 3 years of COVID. So that's been really nice. But I mean, you're right. I mean, we have our Pentagon press secretary going on and basically giving the least bit of information he can on this Chinese spy balloon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when he was getting questions about it, I mean, we were talking about this before we started recording. Like, he was just giving the most just bullshit answers and just dancing his way around all of it. And it's just like, you are not a representation of this country. Like, who are you?
No,
How did you get into that position?
Yeah, somehow he's a brigadier
Like,
general, guys.
Did you vote for him? Mitch,
not the last time I
did
checked.
you cast
anyways.
a vote for him? Yeah, no, I didn't remember doing that either.
No,
nobody did.
Yeah.
So how did this dude get into that kind of a position?
Yep.
Because those interviews and that video, that's able to be seen all over the world.
Yep.
And that's what we look like to other countries.
Exactly. I think right there, that's your key. Because I think when it comes to our country, the biggest problem is our bureaucracy, in my personal opinion. Because we have the Pentagon, who's nobody in there is elected at all. We have the CIA, nobody's elected in that.
Nobody.
We have the ATF, nobody's elected in that. We have the FBI, nobody's elected in that at all. And we have these people that basically either are the right hand or the right arm of justice, in quotations, for our government.
Right.
And we have them basically like being the strong arm if they need to handle something. And then if something needs to be kept quiet, they're also the ones who do that.
Yeah.
So we have this guy, again, going on and talking about it, and we don't even get any clear answers at all from this guy.
When
we need to, like, this is one thing that's always bothered me, is that I remember when I was in high school, I always heard the bullshit about the citizens of the U.S. can't handle certain things of information. It's like, how about this? How about you be transparent with us?
Right.
And if something's actually happening with the spy balloon right now.
Because
Like,
he
honestly.
goes, someone asked him in this particular interview, was like, don't the U.S. citizens deserve to know what's going on with this balloon?
Exactly.
And he literally goes, and this is not a direct quote, but he goes, they can go outside and look at it if they want.
It's
like, are you kidding me?
Is that actually a direct quote?
It's pretty
sure
close.
that's what
It's pretty
almost
close.
exactly what he said.
And like we could pull that up if we wanted to actually have that quote.
Yeah.
But that's essentially what he said. And it's like, are you kidding me? Are you? Oh, they can go outside and look at it. That's bull.
Well,
that is bull.
I'm going to tell you right now, Brigadier General Idiot. I'm going to go outside with my AR and take the thing down myself.
Is that a
at this point in time.
confirmed name?
No, that is. That's his actual name. Yeah, Brigadier General. I have no brain cells. Yeah, like honestly, oh my gosh, dude, I cannot stand when we have people. It just bothers the hell out of me.
I know.
When we have people coming in front of us and telling us these stupid ass things we know aren't true. And they're like, just find out for yourself.
And all of this is happening while that balloon was floating over the country. And we were letting it happen.
Yeah. We're talking about it.
We knew it was maneuverable.
Yep.
So like they had control of it. And so Sean Ryan was just on Andy's podcast.
Yep.
And so
former SEAL and former CIA.
Yeah. So he was a Navy SEAL, and then he did some contract work, and then he worked with the CIA for like 9 years or something.
Yeah, I think that's what he said. Yeah.
And they were talking about the radius that could be seen from this
This
balloon.
caught me off guard 100%. Yeah.
And because a lot of people were like, well, China already knows what's happening here. They have satellites.
TikTok satellites.
Which, okay, yes.
TikTok, 100%. There's logic.
Yeah, and satellites for that matter, too. Like, it's not like the United States doesn't have satellites all over the world either.
Which ours are probably way more advanced, but still.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I would hope so.
But anyway, those are way, way higher than what this was. This was at 60,000 feet. And he was saying at 60,000 feet, it has a 600-mile
range in
both directions. So you're talking 1,200-mile radius. And the path that it took, so it started in Montana.
Yep.
Okay. We have massive missile silos in Montana.
Oh, yeah.
And then, it makes its way down to our state here in Missouri over Kansas City at Whiteman Air Force Base. Guess what happens from Whiteman Air Force Base?
Go ahead. Yeah.
All of the major B-2 stealth bomber runs take off and land
AKA
from there.
Some of our most important capabilities when it comes to military capabilities. Yeah.
Desert Storm, all of those B-2 bombers took off from here and in one flight took off and landed, which is badass. Yeah. They took off, went and did their business, came back, landed.
Destroyed whatever they were aiming for.
Awesome.
Yeah, and came back.
It was awesome. But it goes over that, and then it makes its way out east, goes over D.C. Oh, hey, that's the capital of the country.
Not a big deal.
There's a lot going on there.
Pentagon's there.
Yeah,
you name it. Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it gets shot down. What was it? South Carolina, I believe.
Something like that.
Down.
Yeah. Which so it covered the whole damn country.
Covered the whole country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole entire country.
And we just let it happen.
Yep.
And what's funny is the reason that it wasn't shot down even before it was over the United States, okay, is because they knew, and China had said this, if they shot it down without them letting it run its mission, they would release all the stuff on Twitter, about Twitter.
About Twitter and the Bidens and how they're a Chinese asset.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. And we're just okay with that? Like, we still have the same president in office?
Yep.
We still have the same people running the country?
Yeah. What blows me away, and I was telling you this last night, because you and I were just going in on this last night, and we're like, we have to talk about this. So what really bothers me is the fact that nobody in like the lower ends of our military, lower ends of our command of some sort have stepped up and been like, yeah, that's bullshit. We're gonna run this mission and take this thing down when it touches anywhere near U.S. airspace.
That's what I'm saying,
at
dude.
all.
Like, are you telling me no one in the military, like, wanted to do that? And maybe they did. Maybe they did. We don't know. We weren't there.
We probably talked to a buddy. I mean, I guarantee you, he would say,
well, sure,
that, yeah,
but it's just like, what are we doing? You know, I don't care what you think of Trump, but it's also undisputable that Trump's policies were fantastic for the country. Okay. The United States is the biggest business in the world. He's a businessman. He was running it very, very well. Okay. So it's undisputable that Trump's policies were fantastic. Okay. Handling of COVID, that was obviously an unprecedented situation.
That's a
can't make excuses.
Story,
It's a different story. But say this were to have happened with him in office. First of all, I wouldn't, because we had China in check.
Well, didn't Trump like have them like per year losing $800 billion or
something like that?
Because of our tariffs. There was some statistic about that, about the tariffs that he put on them that ruined them financially in a lot of ways.
But all I know is that like we had them in check.
Yeah.
And we were becoming like that badass country that we used to be. Okay. If that thing even approaches, like you just said, approaches United States like land,
it could literally
like
pass.
it's gone.
It could literally pass Japan. If it even looks like it's coming toward
That's what I'm saying.
U.S. airspace, it's
it would have been gone.
It
would have been gone.
Yeah.
And none of that information that it picked up, and we don't know what it picked up. We don't know what they were looking for. We don't know what their objective was. But we let it happen.
Yeah. And even if let's say their objective was just to say, okay, we can do it. That's even more embarrassing. The fact that we just let a literal balloon just float over our country, like, chilling.
Pennywise might have been holding it. Yeah.
That's hilarious, dude. That's way too funny. But I mean, think how stupid that is.
Like, it's a balloon.
We just let a balloon sit at 60,000 feet and go over our entire country. Like that. If that is a like pure embarrassment of the current administration, I don't know what else is. At the ignoring all the information it definitely had that it probably took, more than likely took, from our missile silos, from our Air Force base, etc. Ignoring all that, at minimum, it is unbelievably embarrassing that we don't have the balls on us to take this thing down. Right. That's the biggest problem.
And it just all goes into this plan of demoralizing the country.
Oh yeah.
That's just that's what all of this goes back into. And we're going to get to Ukraine here also in a minute, guys, but all of this is to just like lose faith in the country, and exactly what you said at the beginning, off of what I said, making us feel hopeless and making us feel like we have no more power here. Like what are we doing? You know? So all of this plays right into that. And you know, with I don't even know where I just lost my train of thought. But like with Ukraine, now we're sending tanks to Ukraine.
Yep.
We just agree that we're sending tanks. We have about 1,000 tanks that are already in Europe right now, currently, because of NATO and just because of different bases we have around the world. Okay, we have about 1,000 tanks, M1 Abrams, in Europe.
Yep.
We're not sending any of those, because why would we do that? You know, why would we use resources that we already have?
Or how many are we sending? Is it 31 or 30?
I don't remember that number. Yeah. It was in the 30s, I do believe. We could also probably look that up. But to make new ones, it's going to take about 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years. So that should tell you right away, too, that this war or whatever is going on between Russia and Ukraine,
they don't plan to stop it,
is nowhere near ending.
Yep.
Because someone in Washington needs money in their pocket. Whoever is going to build the tanks, they need money. They want a contract. So all of this is just revolving around the money that is involved in this situation and stealing tax dollars.
Yep.
Like legitimately stealing tax dollars. And then, so further on that point, okay, we don't want a war with Russia, okay? But as soon as Russia sees American tanks firing against them from Ukraine, how do you think they're going to react to that? How do you think they're going to react?
At some point in time, if you're Putin, you can't just stand there and take it.
No. Knowing like how prideful he is, Like, there's no way.
Again, and I don't blame him.
Well,
like,
no,
I mean, he's a leader. He's a leader of his country.
Of his country, exactly. Okay,
you gotta have a steady hand, and Russia respects that. In men.
Exactly, right. And now you add on top of that the U.S. was behind the pipeline being blown up.
Yeah, the Navy,
Nord Stream
pipeline.
Yeah,
it was Nord Stream pipeline 1 that was active, and then Nord Stream pipeline 2
was built but not being used.
Built but not used yet. Right. Yeah, correct. And I think was it 3 out of the 4 went down in the explosion, or was it all 4?
That I don't know for sure.
I'm not 100% sure about that, but I believe it was somewhere in that number. But yeah, so which is basically a declaration of war by itself.
Exactly,
on our part,
because that
Navy
shut
divers.
off oil to parts of Europe as well. Like Germany was affected by that. I believe Great Britain was on that list as well, and they're
well, they want to push
others.
green energy anyway. So I guess
right.
even though they're climate change heroes. So
right.
let them.
Right.
Let them run it with their solar over there.
No,
see
exactly.
how well that works for them.
But you combine all of that, and Russia's going to soon realize, like, oh, we're not only fighting Ukraine, but we're actually also fighting the United States of America.
Which,
So then what happens?
Let's be really honest. Russia could have wiped Ukraine off the map within 3 months.
Dude, no. Probably within 3 hours.
Probably 3 hours, yeah.
Look at what we did look at what we did in Desert Storm. It literally took 12 hours. We decimated a country, basically.
Right. You're going to tell me Zelensky's actor hero ass is leading them to battle and leading them to hold their country's line.
Dude's just an awesome general.
Dude, he literally has like tours around just for fun.
No, I know.
All he is an actor. That's it.
I mean,
all
he
does is just love sitting down at dinners at the World Economic Forum and whatnot. And Klaus Schwab probably, gives him presents or whatnot at the door, like Saint Nick or some shit. Like who knows, dude? Like it's so bad because you can just tell that all of this is a load of bullshit.
Absolutely.
And that's all. And it's so clear to me because again, if there was an actual war that somehow and they're framing it, Ukraine's holding them back.
Right.
No, they're not.
Right. No, they're not.
No, they're not. Ukraine is like if we're talking about global firepower on the list we were looking at last night, Ukraine's at like number 50.
Yeah.
On all the world
countries.
countries.
They were way down there.
It would be a wipeout if they actually wanted to.
Yeah. Like the TV show.
And Russia. Wow. That's a throwback. But anyways. But I mean, realistically, Russia's number 2 in the world when it comes to global firepower. If we talk about tanks, we talk about manpower, if we talk about capabilities in the air, etc.
Yeah.
They're number 2 behind us.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me that this little country or whatever, however many people live in this country, like 50 million in Ukraine or whatever, somehow is magically resisting.
Holding them back.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Cap.
Okay.
Cap.
No, straight up. Get your hats, Mitchell. Get Mitchell's picture and have him pull up his how many hats is it? Like 12, Mitchell?
Oh, I had like 15 at least. That's
Exactly.
a good picture.
That's what this is.
No, you're making a really good point with Zelensky. He's treating it like a party, right? He was in Great Britain, and it's a funny comment what I noticed. But every time you see the guy, he has a fresh haircut. Like no, seriously. He is lined up.
To look good.
If you're really at war, you're going to be worrying about if you have a fresh lineup or not.
You got gray hair.
If you just hit Beardsley's, come on now.
Right.
Shout out Beardsley's Barbershop.
Yes, but the point stands is that it is all a show.
Yeah,
right.
It is 100% a show.
Right.
Absolutely.
No, you're 100% right with that, Mitch. And when and if this could very easily turn into a two-front thing. Okay, because when and if China decides they want Taiwan, like the same thing's going to happen.
Yep.
We're going to be involved in backing Taiwan, and we're going to be sending them billions of dollars, and then we're going to be sending them tanks and airplanes, and before you know it, we're going to have boots on the ground on both sides. Okay, that leaves our country extremely vulnerable, and I guess I just don't understand why more people are not speaking up about this and opening their minds. Because what's funny, too, this is all very, very ironic.
Mm-hmm.
This is very, very ironic, okay?
Yes, this is good.
So many people, when we were over in Afghanistan and Iraq, were against it because of the military-industrial complex. Now, that's something I didn't really know a whole lot about up until like a couple years ago.
Yep.
Because I used to be very rah-rah, like, yeah, they screwed us over with 9/11, and like, let's go get them.
When in reality, we realize that military is just another arm of the government.
Exactly. So, and there's a lot of financial reasons to be involved in wars.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And so it's funny to me that so many of those people were against Afghanistan and Iraq and all of that, but they're backing Ukraine. And it's like, do you have
Mitch is laughing.
any?
It's so true.
Do you have any common sense? I mean, do you have the ability to think? Like, do you? Like, honestly,
it's like the people that have like Ukraine flags on their front porch, or like the.
This is kind of what made me want to talk about this even more today. On my way over today, I was following this. This car had their license plate was a POW MIA, Palmia, like prisoner of war, missing in action. You know, like the it's got like a silhouette of a man.
Yeah,
you all know what I'm talking about. Okay, and they had a couple other stickers. I don't even remember. And then on the right side, boom, Ukrainian flag. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Do you have any idea what you're supporting? Like, do you have any idea what you're doing? And then I see on my way over here as well, not today, but there's just this house. They always either have, so there's always an American flag flying. It always looks really good. It's right by the road. But then sometimes they have an American flag that has Trump 45 on it. And then sometimes they have the literal Ukrainian flag flying.
The same person?
Yes, the same house. And sometimes all three of them are flying at the same time. And I'm like, you are so ass backwards on your thinking. Like, it's like what goes on in your house? Like, what are your conversations? Let me guess, you're against COVID, but you're triple boosted.
It's
like, what?
This is the type of shit. This is the type of shit that actually makes me believe in NPCs. I'm genuinely like non-playable characters. Like, again, Mitchell's laughing, but like it's true. Mitchell, make the point about the highway. Yeah,
I'm the one who's talked to you about this. Now it's kind of bad to think about, but like you go over like an off ramp on 270 during rush hour, and you look over.
270 is a big highway here in St. Louis.
Yeah, and you look, and you know it's like a. One side's like
4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, and it's like one side is like 6 lanes or something.
Yeah,
it's big.
It's like 4 or 5. 6
and you look,
and
big. You're like, there's no way there is a thinking human in every single one of these cars going to their own home or whatever. I mean, it is very odd. And what I'm thinking as I'm listening to you guys is like the party shift where like Republicans became Democrats and Democrats are, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh, they always make that argument back, like that somehow like the party shifted.
How Democrats were always the racist ones. They were the slave owners and blah, blah, blah stuff.
Yep.
And it's like...
Oh, wait. We can't talk about that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was the racist Republicans.
Well, and we're all white. Yep. So we're... Yeah, you're right.
Anyway,
sorry. But it's like, you look at a lot of the, quote-unquote hippies are the ones supporting Ukraine now. And it's like, I thought you guys were all about...
Anti-war.
It's the same folks, who have been against like Vietnam. They would have been pro, but then you're supporting a conflict that we have nothing to do with.
We have nothing to do with
now
at all.
And in Vietnam,
I couldn't give a shit if Russia takes over Ukraine.
It does not.
It doesn't make sense. And I'm sure that some of this is manufactured by the mass media.
Oh, sure.
Like 100%. Yeah. Because for the most part, if you talk to real people, like most people are fed up. And honestly, beyond fed up. Okay, and then the State of the Union was just, what was that, last week from Biden?
Didn't Republicans start laughing at Biden?
Yeah, and they were booing him. And truth be told, I didn't watch the speech. I was at work, so I didn't get a chance. Oh darn, I missed it.
Oh man,
but I've seen plenty of highlights or whatever, or maybe low lights is probably what they should be called.
Yeah, highlights is a rough way to put it. Yeah,
but like they literally booed him. Like that's the president of the United States getting booed in the biggest speech of the year, and
the wonders of freedoms we still have left at this point.
Well,
in time.
sure,
yeah.
and I mean, honestly, what are we doing booing the president during a speech like that? Because that's also kind of
it's
kind of childish on them as well. But
I don't think it's childish. I think it shows how shitty our government is. It is literally a fifth grade. The house looked like a fifth grade classroom.
Yep.
Right.
And another weird thing is you have all these government officials wearing these like Hunger Games type clothing.
Dude, I know.
Like even like Marjorie Taylor, whatever her name
Taylor
is.
Greene, yeah.
Like she had this like fur coat on. She looks like she's like the bitch from Hunger Games, District 1, District 2.
Right.
It's like, oh my God.
No, dude, that's
and there was another one that was wearing like shoulder pad type dress. It's like, you guys dress like you. Well, they are completely separate from the rest of the population, but they're making it known. They're not even trying to.
Were they selling a book too? Because that's always their thing to do. Like Cory Bush here.
Oh yeah,
they always have to have their book.
But I guess my point there is we have a government that is completely detached from the general population.
Oh yeah.
They have no connection there. There's a complete disconnect.
Right.
Yep.
That's something I've been thinking a lot about recently here. Recently, meaning like probably the past year.
Yep.
And we've talked about this a little bit, but like how realistic the Hunger Games, not the actual games, but the districts and the capital and then the districts, like how realistic of a possibility that could be within the next probably 5 to 10 years. Yeah. And that might be on the long end.
The crazy thing is about all those books that we talk about, like the 1984s, the Hunger Games, the Brave New World. I haven't read that one, but I've heard that one's very similar. It's dystopian. Is all of those have all their undertones are so similar to how we're looking right now.
Well,
that's what's scary about it to me.
Not necessarily looking right now, because like obviously we're not separate in districts and whatnot, but in the direction that it appears we could be heading. Yes, I think is the better way to say that.
The biggest one that always comes off to me is the 1984 aspect of the surveillance state.
Oh, that 100%. I more so meant the Hunger Games. Yeah, 1984, it's undisputable. Like we are in that kind of a state right now.
Yes, yeah.
Like and everything is being
they're easing us into it right now.
Absolutely, and like
how,
Mitch, like this,
Eurasia and Oceania are perpetually at war in 1984.
Yep.
Well,
and sounds familiar.
And Mitch, like I'm sure you can kind of speak to that a little bit. Like you're in cybersecurity, so you're kind of in that realm of things. So you know how much is being recorded and listened to and watched and is being stored is really the biggest one too.
We're going to talk about Snowden.
You know, well,
American Patriot right there. But
yes, 100%.
He's a weirdo now, but whatever.
Yeah, I've really looked into him now.
And he has his Russian citizenship now. Like that's not a guy that you want against your country.
Well, because he was, I think he's been there for 10 years.
Yeah, yes.
Well, he had to because they
exiled him.
They're trying to extradite him, and Russia won't let him.
Well, it's why I don't have social media anymore. But wherever I go, my ads are somewhat decent because I don't have any of those data points. But like you guys could probably Google something and you'll see it on your Facebook feed 2 minutes
100%.
later.
Yeah. It happens every day.
That's why I use DuckDuckGo, so it doesn't pull that shit up on mine.
Right.
But again, that's not enough, right?
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. There's VPN. There's this. Yeah, etc.
I mean, you'll go on the one thing with I've noticed about social media and all the collection is it's meant to just create a mindset that is just horrible, especially for young men. And we've kind of touched this on a lot of episodes, but it's just they're not productive environments.
Not at all.
They're not. The closest one I've noticed is Reddit in terms of you can go to specific communities that you enjoy. Like you can go to a community like that you have a hobby in or you have an interest in and have conversations with people there.
Yeah.
But then
kind of like Discord too.
Yep.
Similar.
Yeah. But the problem with that a lot of the times is you have communities that have the worst of humanity on them. That was the case with a lot of with everyone who left Twitter when Elon took over and went to Mastodon. Mastodon probably still has a huge child porn and pedophile community on it. Because
even TikTok's having issues with that right now.
I believe it originated in Japan, and Japan didn't outlaw like pedophilia and child porn stuff until like 2014. So
that's great.
Man, maybe we should have added an extra bomb when we back in 1945. Holy shit!
But yes, there. I mean. You collect gigabytes upon gigabytes, and it's just to build a profile on every person because the money isn't in, your phone. Your phone costs quite a bit to manufacture. Your iPad, your Mac, your whatever, hardware costs quite a bit to manufacture. The big money is ad revenue. Once you have that algorithm built out, it's you hear the stupid 20-year-old entrepreneurs doing it. Oh, you can do passive income. Well, once it's built out,
so tiring.
Well, once it's built out, that's a lot of passive income right there. Is ad revenue because the algorithm is running in the background. It just builds that profile, and you click on something. Oh, Google gets ad revenue.
Exactly.
Well, it's like you said about data. Like data is a bit. That's like what's the current new currency. Pretty much.
If the service is free, you are the product.
Right.
That's the saying there is. Because they're getting much more value out of the data points you provide. So they allow you to use the service for free. I mean, nothing is truly free in life.
Right.
And that's why, you go on YouTube. Well, we've seen YouTube's starting to test non-skippable 15-second long videos.
Yeah.
And you can't skip them.
Right.
And then that's going to keep going to where it's going to be like a TV length commercial where it's a 3-minute commercial because their ad provider is paying for it.
Right.
And you just can't escape it. And that data is extremely valuable because it helps to build and make decisions that will be profitable to that marketing agency, to Google, to Facebook, to Meta, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of what like looping that all together too. It's like the issue we have is then like Wurtz said, We got Afghanistan. They're against the MIC or the military industrial complex. We go to Ukraine. They now support it because it's the newest thing or whatnot.
Right.
And then it hides stuff like the Twitter executives being grilled about child pornography as well.
Right.
So we, as a country, have a priority problem as well.
Absolutely.
We focus on stupid shit like Ukraine, missed Captain Zelensky, and we focus on stuff like, you know, the Chinese spy balloon floating over us and not shooting it down and getting that over with within 30 seconds. And then we just, beneath the rug, have Yoel Roth, the Twitter executive, being a literal closeted pedophile, being interviewed by Congress right now.
And one of the masterminds of 9/11 was released during all of that too.
Oh, great.
Most people don't know anything about that.
Yeah, no, you mentioned that to me actually. Now you said that, and so we hide all this stuff under the data, under the ad revenue, under the Ukraine or the newest thing to support, and you know, people that are literally touching little kids. I mean, you know, we can censor Donald Trump on Twitter, but the 30,000 child pornography accounts don't get shut down at all.
Exactly.
So where are our priorities in this country?
Well, it all goes back to the demoralization of the country.
100%.
That's exactly what I meant earlier with the different wars, but even all of that as well.
Yep.
Like there is no morality left.
Yep.
Or very little anyway.
What really bothers me is like, because we've talked about, us three have talked about like the Wild West and how justice could get done right there.
Oh, on the
like
spot.
within 5 seconds.
We're dueling.
So like, yeah, exactly. You run your mouth, we're dueling right here.
Yeah. Either you're dying or I'm dying.
Yeah, it's and there's obviously Yellowstone. Everybody knows the show Yellowstone. Super popular show.
Haven't watched it. I need to.
Oh gosh, you'll love it when you do. But there's a spin-off of like an early prequel called 1887.
Which some people have said is even better.
It's really good.
Yeah, I've heard
it has
good
Tim
things.
McGraw in it. That's why, because Tim McGraw is a rocket.
1887 or 1883?
1883.
I think
Oh, you're right. You're right. Never mind.
Whatever.
My bad.
We all knew.
Anyways, yeah. 1883. The first episode. I mean, Tim McGraw walks in on this guy basically trying to rape his daughter, and instantly shoots him in the head, blows his head open, and it's over.
Which like
and he doesn't get, like, there's no cop bothering him. There's just justice handed out. This guy's dead.
Right.
It's that
Which
simple.
most fathers and just most people, if they were to walk in on that happening in their house, are going to do the same thing. They're going to do the same thing, you know, or it's at least going to get physical, you know, if you're not caring at the particular moment. But it's the fact that that's almost like frowned upon to stand up for your family or stand up for yourself in those types of situations, you know,
or
like,
stand up for a restaurant of people like that one guy in Texas did.
Right.
Yeah.
Or a mall of people when
what
was it, 21-year-old kid
Eli
had
something.
I don't care about the name, but like, you know, it was a 45-yard shot with his 9mm. He took the shooter out, you know, on the spot.
Yeah, he hit 8 out of 10 shots. They said.
Exactly.
Drop this guy.
Exactly.
Yep.
At almost 50 yards with a handgun. Like
And,
that's not easy.
No, not at all. And imagine the questions this guy got. You know, was it justified? Do you have this carry? Do you have that carry? Right. It's like, who the shit cares? Yeah. The guy with an AK-47 was just trying to mow down 25 other people in the mall, and this guy put him down after he killed like 1 or 2.
Right.
So what's your choice here?
Exactly.
That's my problem of when it comes to demoralization of the country, because there's an aspect when justice needs to be handed out, and we need to stop questioning it.
Well, there's just no accountability. Either.
Exactly.
It goes all into back.
That's
into
the
that.
thing. If somebody is a horrific criminal, instead of us taking 3 years to lock them up, just put them down like a dog.
Yeah.
Like that's what it comes down to.
Right. You have to set an example.
You do.
You have to set an example.
And instead, somebody does that, and they're now like investigated as a criminal.
Yeah.
Anytime a firearm's like released or something like that, or a dad handles business after his son or daughter gets molested, it's somehow like question.
I will say, in self-defense situations and situations like that where you're defending someone, you're not going to get questioned by the police. You will get questioned, but you're not going to like get arrested. You're not going to go to jail. Like you might get brought downtown for questioning, but you're not going to jail. Like you're not going away.
Yep.
You know, so there obviously is processes that have to happen, even if it is self-defense and stuff like that. You have to go through those processes. But if you are like criminally charged or something, then that's where the problem comes in. You know, but I don't know. All in all of this comes just down to demoralization and just trying to make us look weak to the rest of the world. And right now we do. We don't have morals and we look weak.
Yep.
You know, and
we look weak and it's about greed too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I don't even know what the solution is right now, other than just continuing to bring awareness to it. And you know, like you cannot fall for the lies of these politicians, both sides. Both sides. There are a few good apples in there now, okay? But a few isn't going to change anything, nor are politicians going to change anything, okay? It comes down to the citizens. It comes down to each individual citizen becoming excellent in their own ways in their personal life, okay?
Yep.
And setting morals, setting accountability. If you have kids, setting that example and laying that framework for their lives like that. Because that's how we have a generational change. That's how we have a cultural change. We can't rely on the older generations, whether the politicians are just older generation people. You can't rely on them.
Yep.
Our parents' generation, they can still have an effect. We have the opportunity to have a massive
Huge
effect.
because we can start now at 20 years old and go
Exactly.
up until we're literally 60.
Exactly.
effect.
And then the generation that we will create
We raise.
and
Yep.
that they will create, like that is really the big one.
That's what it
Do
comes
we
down
even
to.
want to have the opportunity to create a generation?
Yep.
You know, I do. I know you two do.
100%. I
You
want to be
know?
a father without a doubt.
Most people listening to this, like they do. You
Yep.
know, so you have to start doing stuff with your life in a productive way.
Yep. And
Okay.
and I'll add to that, along with the individual aspect, get in your community.
Absolutely. Yes. And-
Rally
yes.
people around you, whether
Yep.
it's on social media, whether it's in person, whatever. Have meetups, whatever it is. You guys should be also getting in your community and finding other excellent people, so you guys as a community can then add more excellence into your communities. Then that community goes to state level. That state level goes to federal level, etc. We start
Yep.
making things better.
Yep.
We start putting good people in.
Right.
We start if there's a poll place, you come, you volunteer, you serve, you show up, vote, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That type of stuff.
As
Be in your community, be excellent as a person.
Mr. Will Be Inspired says, take action.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, guys, that's going to be our content for season 2, episode 28. World War III question mark? Hopefully not.
World War III.
I sure hope not. Okay.
I also hope not.
Guys, for those of you, maybe it is your first time listening, at the end of each full-length episode, Mitch, our producer, he's had a lot of good insight this episode, Mitch. Appreciate that,
Yeah,
man. We do.
actually, yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
I mean
No,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
But he asks us a Q&A question that is submitted by the listeners. Every once in a while, we'll have him just come up with it because, as you saw in this episode, he is a pretty smart guy.
Very,
Okay?
yeah.
A little bit smarter than
Yeah.
the two Jacobs here. So, Mitch, go ahead. Do your thing.
How do you measure success in life? So this could be an overall view. I mean, you guys could go specific. How do you measure success in fitness? How do you measure success in business? How do you measure success in relationships? Or you could just do an overall view.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a person-to-person thing. Like everyone's gonna have their own idea of that.
Yeah.
I think just having freedom, like financial freedom,
100%. 100%.
You know, being physically fit,
Yeah.
like not being someone that's dependent on a whole bunch of medications and someone that's not dependent on, just like the system as far as you know things like welfare. You know, and welfare. So that's a whole nother topic. But welfare is not meant to be lived off of.
Yeah.
It's something like, hey, I just got laid off. Like I need some help to
Yep.
bridge this gap until I find a new
My
thing.
family's struggling. I'm the only provider in my
Yeah,
family
exactly,
right now. Yeah.
Exactly. And in those cases, like it's not.
It's supposed to be a hand up. Hey, you're drowning in the water.
Right.
Reach out, give that person
Yes.
your hand, pull them up, then give them the opportunity
Right.
to keep going.
Not a handout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not a continuous
Like
handout
that.
after that. Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
But man, how do you measure success? Like, you know, it's not necessarily a dollar amount or anything like that, but financial freedom, that's one that's very important to me and really to everyone in this room for that matter. And a lot of you listening as well. But just, you know, financial freedom. So being successful in that sense, you know, the ability to have protection for yourself and your family. And I don't just necessarily mean being able to carry a gun, but just being physically fit enough to protect yourself and your family, you know, being armed, things like that.
Training combat sports. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Or even just basic, like, basic firearm
self-defense.
training.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or firearm training. Yeah.
Right.
That's
That's
like Krav Maga and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a loaded question. Like I don't really know. You go ahead.
I think you answered it really well. There is the freedom aspect. I think if you can rely on the less people you can rely on in the way of like, because of course, like if you have a family member or whatnot that needs your help and whatnot, that's good. That's good reliance.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
to me, I'm talking about bad reliance in the way
Sure.
of like you're relying on big pharma to provide you every medication to keep you healthier and keep you alive. You're relying on the hospitals to do that. You're relying on the government to hand you a welfare check.
Right.
You're relying on the police to protect you when
Right.
the police are 20 minutes away, when
Exactly.
a handgun's 3 seconds away.
Exactly.
So I think that's right there. So there's bad reliance and there's good reliance. Good reliance is like I rely on you guys to keep me going as men.
Yeah, right.
I rely on you guys to make me more masculine. I rely on you guys to keep me focused. But I also rely on myself to do those things.
Absolutely.
So there's there's kind of like a loop of that, I guess, is that I would say, given all that caveat right there, that the less you can rely on the outside systems in the way of like, let's say you can go have a property, 300 acres, and it has self-sustaining water, self-sustaining food, self-sustaining, whatever, self-sustaining plumbing, etc. That is like, for me, top tier success.
Yeah.
Because unless I have to rely on somebody else to provide, like they can't shut off my water. They can't turn off,
electricity.
Like they can't shut down grocery stores and me be like, oh, like that.
Right.
And freak out. Electricity.
Right.
That's a great one too. So, and then when it comes to the physical aspect, you're right. Physical freedom, 100%. The more, honestly, the more muscular I've gotten, the more fit I've gotten, the more healthy I've gotten, the less I've relied on people.
3 in a row here. 6'4", jacked and good looking.
Let's go. Gosh, man, I'm so confident with this guy around. Man. Oh my god.
Relying is actually a really good way to describe it. Yeah. I like that word for it. Because the way I just learned this stat. So I think.
Wait, you said stat?
Statistics.
Oh, okay. I was like, stat? What?
Again, Mitch is a little bit smarter than us. So. Anyway.
Very cool. So, well, not cool. It's interesting. So, I don't know what the percentage is of six-figure earners in the U.S., so above 100K. I don't think it's a lot.
I think it's 10%.
But of that number, 50% of the folks who make over 100K are living paycheck to paycheck.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I just heard this the other day, actually.
And then I believe overall of however many people in the U.S., 330 million, 340 million.
330 million, yeah.
I think 70% of the U.S. is paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And the way I'm thinking about the way because relying is a great word for that. You are relying on your company or your employer to provide you with that next paycheck so you can get food, so you can get cigs, so you can get beer, so you can, because that's what, the classic paycheck to paycheck type thing is.
As long as it's Busch Light.
God's nectar right there. But it's a ball and chain, right?
Yeah.
You don't have options until you get that paycheck.
Right. Yep.
I think options is another good way to think about it. Is you have zero options to do anything until you get that paycheck. You are secured to that money because you don't have anything to support yourself other than that.
Right. Yeah. And I just sitting here thinking too, like one more for me here is in the aspect of how do you measure success is if you had an impact. If you had an impact with your life.
Boom.
Like that's a big one, obviously, that we're striving for, and the people that we learn from and that we're connected with and close to. But having an impact on other people, like that's pretty special.
Yeah. Did you make the world a better place?
Exactly. Yeah. Because we talk a lot about wanting to leave a legacy. Okay, and we're trying to build that right now. We're at the very, very beginning of that. And when you die, how do you want to be remembered? It's not going to be the amount of money you had in your bank. This is very cliche, but it's also super, super true. You want to be remembered for the impact you had on other people's lives, and so I think that's also a very, very important measure of success. The money is great, and you need money. You need money. Anyone that shits on money doesn't have an idea about money.
Doesn't have an idea about how the world works in general.
Exactly. You have to have money. You have to for everything.
For freedom.
And for freedom as well. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to make millions of dollars. Like that is what we see in our futures as well. It can
be a very virtuous thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Billions.
Exactly. But with millions and millions of dollars, like your impact can be even greater. And as long as you're a good intentioned person, you can expand that impact, So that's another one, at least for me personally. I know you guys are on my side for that as well, but is just, what kind of impact did you make?
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. Cause when it comes to money too, when it comes to impact, I mean, one of my personal goals is to donate to my former mentor at church's charity, just $5 million and just hand over stuff like that casually.
Yeah.
And that's where money factors into me, is being able to actually provide extra help with that money.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's where the impact comes into play. And then also having, my children my grandchildren, et cetera, be able to have also that same life, that same drive that I want to have and continue to build.
Right.
And that same, quality of life as well. That same no reliance on somebody else.
Right.
That same type of physical health, et cetera. So that's 100%. I mean, we pretty much on the same page and same, basically said very similar things in different ways here.
Right,
in a lot of ways on what success is. But I would say an overarching one for everybody should literally just be, as little as you can rely on the systems, the better.
Yes.
And then because that allows your impact to be higher, that allows you to be more fit, et cetera.
Yeah.
So,
No, 100%, dude. Guys, the support has been awesome here these past few weeks
really,
with the podcast. The numbers are just skyrocketing. We're getting a lot of listens on older episodes as well, so that tells us that we're getting a lot of new listeners that want to kind of follow along with this journey. And I'm literally getting goosebumps right now because it literally means so much to us. It's so exciting. Anytime we get new feedback from new listeners, or even just people that are like, "Hey man, like I listened to the podcast," it means a lot to us. It really, really does. So please keep that up. Continue telling people about it. Continue sharing it to your Instagram stories. In any way that you can help us spread our names and the podcast and our messages, like the better. That allows us to grow more. That allows us to have a bigger impact.
Correct.
There you go.
Yeah.
So guys,
seriously, thank you guys.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes. So guys, we appreciate you being here with us. Until next time, peace and love.
Thanks, guys.